Our second reading this morning is from John's Gospel, chapter 1, verses 1 through 5, and then concluding with verse 14. Open your minds and hearts, your total selves, to the transforming power of God's living Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all humankind. This light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. This is the Word of God.
Thanks be to God.
Just a word about the team this morning. My liturgist, Katy, and I went to the same elementary school in Detroit, Michigan, a few years ago. I think the teachers who worked with us, the nuns, would be relatively pleased with the outcome. For all of us, at some time or other, maps play a very important role in life. When I was growing up, I would have to unfold a very large, complicated map to see where we were going, how to get from one town to another, how to get from one section of the great city of Detroit to another. Of course, now, a lot of younger adults and all the teenagers and back into the elementary school level and even preschool level, people are used to digital maps. They can punch an address into their computer or their GPS locator in their cars, or look at their wearable watches that are mini computers and find out basically all they need to know about how to get from place A to place B. The two scriptures this morning both start with the words, "in the beginning." And of course that immediately suggests to us an ending. Beginning and endings, they just go together. And then we very quickly realize, what about the time and space and activity in between any beginning and any ending? And for people of faith, and we have been all gifted with faith, that between time, in between beginnings and endings, we call life's journey in faith. There is a special light that we have been given that helps us make sense of all of reality. And aren't we blessed? So, between beginnings and endings, between baptism and a funeral goodbye, despedida, to a friend, a relative, a fellow church member, we are in need of a map. So in between beginnings and endings, we have not only a journey, but more importantly, to maybe understand that time, is that we have the call and the need for development, growth, or, if you will, even peaking at some stage or another. Now, we know the importance of momentum in life. We know if we were someone who was really gifted in the ability to crochet or to embroider, that skill or that set of skills takes time to develop. It takes practice. It takes trial and error. It takes instruction from those who have gone before us, who know how to practice that craft. Or for others, we can turn to the world of sports and athletics, and we know that, for example, in football, it's really important that a team peaks during the playoffs. Or in baseball, to get into the playoffs. Peaking is what we work long and hard to achieve with the help and support of others, but with our determination and our persistence over many, many days, months, years of practice. So in this development in faith life, it's a development that is called to perfection. It is called to a peaking period or a peaking moment. Years ago, I read a very, very short poem that encapsulated that process and that understanding, that insight into faith development. It was a poem that I wish to share with you right now. And I invite you to just hear it, because I'm going to say it in both Spanish and English. The original poem was in Spanish. Olvido de lo criado, forgetfulness of creation. Memoria del Creador, remembrance of the Creator. Atención a lo interior, attention to what is within. Y estarse amando al amado. And being in the sense of continuous choosing to be loving of the beloved, the one who loves us first. And those 4 lines and a reflective understanding of those can be entitled Peaking in the Spiritual Life. It can be entitled the summary of perfection. So let's briefly go through the 4 activities. Forget creation. Well, we're part of creation. We can't forget ourselves or the rest of creation, even if we tried. So in what sense are we to forget creation? In the sense that we do not allow ourselves to make creation an obstacle to finding, discovering, experiencing God in our lives, in our world. So it's a very special type of forgetting. And today, over the last 30, 40, 50 years maybe, we become aware of the terrible devastation that a forgetfulness can mean in human living and relationships. We think of spouses with either early onset Alzheimer's or later on just kind of the normal downside of getting older. And we know that that loss of memory, that forgetfulness, almost takes the very essence of who we are as human persons away. Then remembrance of the Creator. Well, we're living in a time and a place and a culture that is very divided. Is there such a thing as creation itself? Or is it just something the result of a Big Bang theory, if you will? But remembrance, that activity, helps make us who we are. And so in the time of natural devastation, be it a flood or a forest fire, people are forced to flee their homes, their normal pattern of life. And what is it they want to save? Pets, of course, one another, but pets, and then photos of their life and the people in their life. And that's why we have Christian education of our youth and our children. And what a beautiful job this morning. Thank you. Because we need to hear and rehear and hear a third or a 300th time the stories of the Bible, the collective memory of people of faith, no matter what the historical era or the cultural environment. We need to remember the past. Why? Very simply because it gives us hope for the future and the present. Then the third activity in this brief poem is attention, attending, paying attention to. Oh, do we know this? All those who are married, ongoing struggle to really pay attention to one's spouse, to really listen. Because, first of all, it is a basic gesture and activity of respect. Respect for the other person. We are not the center of the universe. And lastly, estarse amando, being, but in the sense of an ongoing choice of being loving. You've probably heard various motivational speakers refer to, well, you get up in the morning, maybe you're not feeling so well, the arthritis is kicking in, or bursitis, or whatever, and you have a choice, almost unconscious. How am I going to respond to whatever is ailing me at this particular moment? With a smile, or with a frown, with grumbling, saying everything that's going to be happening to me today is just bad news? Or do we choose to be loving? First of all, to ourselves, but then to all those around us, all those we come into contact with. This is what peaking is all about. In one sense, we never peak until the moment of our death. But in another, more extended sense, there are periods in our faith life, our development, our growth in wisdom, which is just another word for spirituality, our growth in the Spirit. Four simple activities: forgetting, remembering, and those two go together, two sides of the same coin. Forgetting and remembering, and then Where we really get involved is attending to others, to what is right, to the truth, to the quality of our lives together in society, in a faith community. And then the most important one of all, activity of choosing to be loving. But who do we love? First and foremost, beginning and ending, the one who loves us first, the one who has created us and all of creation, the lover, the beloved. And in the beginning, as our scriptures remind us, God in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, the Gospel of John, the Word was with God. The Word was God. And we can simply interchange the word God for lover, the one who continues to love us first. Aren't we blessed with the gift of poetry that can distill the essence, the meaning of growth in faith, growth in the Spirit, growth in love, so simply?